Hey guys, welcome to Reddit Brew. Today, I will be reading from the r/EntitledPeople subreddit, so let's jump into it. Brother-in-law tries to dictate if I can speak to my sister. This happened quite some time ago, but I'm new to the Reddit world and wanted to share. When my younger sister married her second husband, she married into a patriarchal culture that was not big on accepting women as equal. Her father-in-law was the family head of the household and dominated her mill. Her brother-in-law, husband's older brother, subjugated his wife. Thus, my sister's sister-in-law was allowed to be controlled by her husband. My sister assured me that her husband, we'll call him Tom, was much younger than his siblings, had greater exposure to the outside culture, and was not this way at all. He, therefore, she insisted, would never mistreat her, nor her daughter, nor treat them less than just because they were female. Me, being the eldest son of 4, with a wider overall experience of the world, university educated, and even had been married to a feminist for 8 years, had a vastly different point of view. But I gave my Bill the benefit of the doubt that he was not conditioned by the beliefs of his family. Now to the story. One day, I came home to my parents' place to find my mother distraught and in tears. I asked what was wrong. She told me that she had another big argument with my sister over the telephone, whereby they screamed at one another, both said nasty things, and then Mom was hung up on. A serious sin in our family. Mom then tried to give me her side of the story, but I stopped her and told her that I would not mediate between the two. I only do this because they have both fought like proverbial cats and dogs since my sister was a teenager. So I just stated that they're both adults and they'll need to sort it out. Mom then told me that even though she was angry with sis, she was worried for her as she heard Tom get upset and was yelling in the background, and that perhaps it was actually Tom who hung up the phone. I decided to call my sister to assume myself and check on her. I called and Tom answered. The following conversation occurred. "Hi Tom, it's OP. How is sis? How do you think? She's upset. May I speak with her? No? Excuse me? The question was rhetorical. It's not your decision to whether I talk to her or not, actually. Put my sister on the phone if she wants to speak with me. Now." Tom hangs up. I was already in a near rage when I jumped in the car and drove to my sister and Tom's house, about 20 minutes away. At the house, I had calmed down somewhat when I knocked. Tom answered, saw me, and immediately came outside and began screaming in my face. I couldn't get a word in until I grabbed him by the shirt front and forcibly held him against the wall. Yes, I manhandled him, and yes, not my finest hour. The shock immediately shut him up. Then, it was my turn to scream. My face was inches away from his face when I screamed the following. "When I called to speak to my sister, it's not your decision to say no. You are not your father, and my sister is not yours to be controlled." After getting that out, I calmed down a little, stopped screaming, but didn't let him go. I calmly spoke again. "When I call to speak to my sister, I'll accept from you, sorry, she's upset and resting, so I really don't want to disturb her, but I'll let her know you called, and if she chooses to call you back, that's her decision. I'll also accept, hang on, I'll get her. Then you come back and tell me that she said she doesn't want to talk to me. I'll also accept, look OP, your sister told me a while ago that if anyone calls, she doesn't want to speak with them and will contact them later. So I have to respect her wishes. But what I won't accept," I was screaming again, "is that I can't speak with my sister because you won't allow it. You are her husband, not her owner. If she doesn't want to speak with me, it has to come from her, not from you." At this point, my sister came out, separated us, and dragged us both inside. Tom immediately disappeared to his workshop, and my sister took me to the kitchen. In silence, she made us all coffee and called Tom to join us. he did. We drank our coffees in silence. Then Tom went to his workshop again. Sis and I sat on the lounge. She just looked at me. I broke the silence. How are you? I'm okay. You know how Mom is. She then began to tell me her side of the argument, but I interrupted. Sis, like I told Mom, I'm not going to mediate between the two of you. You both know very well how to push each other's buttons. You've known how to get Mom on the defense since you were a kid. You both continually fight, then a few days later, don't actually make up, but both act as though nothing happened. Then, soon after, one of you will set the other off. And it happens all over again. If this pattern is to ever stop, you are both going to have to be adults and talk it out. Yeah, Mom and me will get over it. We always do. But what about you and Tom? What about us? I think we understand each other. Look, Tom really is a good man. Maybe he misstepped, but I don't think he was trying to control me. I don't know that, but other than today, I've never had any reason to doubt him. So I'll trust you on that. For now. But let me make it clear, sis. If at any time you don't want to speak with me, you have every right not to do so. As Tom is your husband, you can relay that information to me via him. I understand that you are married, and a spouse is more important than any other relationship. And I'm not trying to come between that. I just need to know that if we don't talk, it is because you made that decision, not because Tom or any other person in your life wouldn't allow it. She agreed, I hugged her, and left. 2 days later, I called my sister. Tom answered. By the way, I forgot to mention this is all landline, pre-cell phones. Hi Tom, it's OP. How are you? Yeah, fine. How's work? What are you up to? Work's the same shite, different day. Can I speak to sis? Sure, I'll go get her. I hear Tom place the receiver down, walk away, calling sis, telling her I was on the phone for her. Sis comes on the line. Were you testing my husband just now? No, of course not. Mom seems happier. I just called to see how you are. Yeah, I called Mom yesterday. I told her I didn't want to fight, and what you said about us talking about why we fight with each other. We both agreed and had a nice conversation. Amazing! Happy to hear it. So, back to Tom. Is he okay with me? We spoke after you left. He kinda admitted you were right, and was a little pissed with himself for overstepping. He did try to defend himself by telling me he was only trying to protect me. Did you tell him that he doesn't need to protect you from me? I think he understands that now. I think he's worried now though that he'll need me to protect him from you. Look, how about I invite him out for some beers and a game of pool? He'll like that. Wait, invite him out? Why can't I come too? You have to stay home to tidy the house, look after the kitties, and make dinner. While us men, F you! While us men hit balls with sticks. F you. Are you still coming tomorrow? Of course. I wouldn't miss it. Tomorrow was actually a Thursday, and every Thursday I would go to Sis and Tom's place after dinner to spend a few hours with my niece and nephew. This Thursday routine is a whole different story that I'd love to tell if wanted. Edit. Firstly, thank you for the many kind comments, but I do want to point out one thing, especially to those of you who are referring to me as some kind of wonderful person. I do believe in doing the right thing by people and helping people where I can, but in this instance that I wrote about, I physically grabbed Tom. I used force and violence. I think everyone on this planet knows when someone does something like this, it can turn really bad really quickly. It is to Tom's credit that when I did this, he did not retaliate. Despite the blow to his ego, he to some extent allowed me to forcibly restrain him and to scream into his face. Moreover, he never really held it against me. We did go out for drinks and pool like I suggested, but Tom and I never really became too close. And sometimes, for his wife's sake, I think he simply just tolerates me. We respect each other though, and he really appreciated my relationship with his son. OP's conflict and resolution and overall mindset is actually so admirable and inspiring. The not furthering the drama by avoiding to choose sides in regards to his sister and mother and simply suggesting they work out their differences was so great. And yes, he did use force with Tom, but he realized his mistake afterwards and was mature enough to admit his wrongfulness. The ability to admit when wrong, to say sorry, and to see a situation from all sides, in my opinion, are the best things that people can learn to do. Anyways, this OP did post a few more stories about his quote-unquote special Thursdays with his niece and sister and the origin of that, so if you want to hear them, I'll be sure to read those for you guys if you want. But anyways, that is all from me today. I hope you enjoyed that Entitled People story. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I truly appreciate when you do, and I will see you in the next Reddit story. Bye!